right, sweet. Flatline MMA podcast episode number 61. Guys, the UFC is back. 4-week layoff. We're back at Fight Island, baby. So excited. We have a stretch of just 3 kind of fights. We got a Saturday, a Wednesday, and then a Saturday pay-per-view to end off the month of January. I'm super stoked. Let's start it off by talking a little UFC Fight Island 7, headlined by Max Holloway, taking on Calvin Kattar. Just to go through the main card, we have some great fights on here that I know everyone's going to enjoy. Let's get started. In the middleweight division, we have the highlight reel, Joakim Buckley taking on Alessio de Chirico. Alessio, I think like a lesser-known name. I don't know too much about him. Obviously, everyone knows Joakim Buckley. I think he was the talk of 2020 with just his I don't even know what to call that knockout. Probably one of the greatest knockouts we've ever seen. Just magician-like, just absolutely destroying Impa Kasagane. I don't even know how to say his last name anymore. I feel like I said it right on the last podcast, but Joakim's got some hype behind him. He's got some steam, and he proved that he's just not this one-hit wonder. Where he came back and he fought Jordan Wright, KO'd him viciously at UFC 255. Now this kid's definitely building up a name for himself as this knockout artist. And then if you look at a guy like Alessio, right, on a 3-fight losing streak, actually not sure why this fight was made. To me, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't help Buckley's case anywhere. So honestly, kind of a really easy pick for me. I'm going Joakim Buckley. I'm going to go another highlight reel knockout to start off 2021. What do you got, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything you just said, and for all the same reasons. Joakim, he started off with a tough fight. That was a contender series fight, right, with Kevin Holland.
I believe so, yeah.
Getting knocked out on the show, which was a tough way to get brought into the UFC. But ever since then, he's been knocking people out, and I think he just got an award today for that knockout that he had on Impa. I think he posted that on Instagram. So, he's quickly, he went viral with that knockout. He became a big name. He's got a lot of people calling him out. The big one is James Krause. For whatever reason, Krause doesn't like him. So that's a fight that I think will probably be made this year at some point. That's kind of fun. There's a little backstory with that one. But yeah, like you said, Alessio de Chirico, it looks like ever since he joined the UFC, he's 3-5. Looked like he came into the UFC as an undefeated fighter from a different promotion. He won the European World title, the WFCA in Prague. But it looks like he's kind of had a tough go since joining the UFC. And a lot of his wins have been by decision too. So I think this will probably be an easy one for Buckley. And like you said, I think another knockout for him.
Yeah, agreed. I think we're going to see a highlight reel knockout. Common opponent for both of them, Kevin Holland. They both lost him. So obviously, like if I'm Buckley, I'm looking to get that fight back. Kevin Holland's a big name right now. Mm-hmm. I would definitely be after getting that because that's a massive fight between them. They both have a ton of hype. They both had great 2020s. So if I'm Buckley, I'm definitely calling out Krause next for talking shit. And then I'm trying to set up a Kevin Holland fight eventually in 2020 if the rankings line up. So good fight to kind of watch. Obviously, Joakim Buckley is a fucking one-punch power. So don't blink for his fight. Next, one that I'm super excited about, someone that I think a lot of people have forgot about, but this man was a killer before he got hurt. Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Jingliang, welterweight bout. Ponzinibbio's 7-fight win streak. People forget how good this man is. He is good everywhere. Look at his hit list: Court McGee, Zach Cummings, Gunnar Nelson, Mike Perry when Mike Perry was on a streak, and then KOing Neil Magny, who Neil Magny right now is one of the most active fighters in the UFC, one of the best guys in this division right now. Ponzinibbio is legit. Before this injury, he was on his way to the title. He had big fights set up. He was supposed to fight Kamaru Usman, then he had to pull out due to injury. This guy's for real. I'm so excited that he's back. am I worried a little bit about ring rust? Last time he fought was 2018. So we're talking a big layoff for Ponzinibbio. Taking on a guy in Jingliang, tough guy. Hasn't fought the caliber and the names that Ponzinibbio has fought, but this dude is good everywhere. Tough, hard to put him away. Got a great chin. So I'm hoping for a great fight on this one. But Kev, what's your insight here?
Yeah, I mean it is going to be exciting to have. I can't even say that last name. Just looking at it, Ponzinibbio.
Ponzinibbio, yeah.
Ponzinibbio is too many syllables. But yeah. The thing with him is he just makes a mess of his opponents. And the thing with Jing Liang is most of his fights go the distance. So I think that's going to work in Ponzinibbio's favor. The longer this fight goes, the messier he's going to make it. Probably cut him up a bit, wear him down. I see Santiago getting the win here.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, for those of you who don't know, who are new fans to the UFC, this guy is legit. And I think he's going to have his presence felt on Saturday night. And I think he's going to assert himself back into the rankings here. He originally was a top 10 guy for so long, breaking into the top 5 very soon. Like I said, had that fight with Kamaru Usman booked. It just didn't end up working out. He got hurt. So, guys, if you don't know, you're going to know on Saturday night. Santiago Ponzinibbio, I agree. I think he's going to make this a just dog fight for Jingliang. I think he's going to cut him up. I think he's going to get a hard fought but very easy decision there. So that's one. Keep an eye out for that. And then we got the co-main event, guys. Are we talking 2007 here? Are we talking 2021? We got Carlos Condit taking on Matt Brown in the co-main event of UFC Fight Island 7. I know what you're thinking. You're probably not excited for this fight. My boy Kevin said it best. If this was 10 years ago, I'm fired up for this fight. Listen, are these guys in their prime? Absolutely not. Are these guys still killers? Who knows? But I think these guys are going to bring the best out of each other. Carlos Condit was on such a bad skid for a while. 5-fight losing streak. Finally breaks it with a decision victory over Court McGee back in October. That was awesome to see. For those of you who grew up watching Carlos Condit, he is a man's man, an absolute savage. And then you got Matt Brown, who, again, hasn't been on the best run, had 2 wins in a row, and then recently just lost to Miguel Baeza back in May. But he looks good in those 2 fights, KOing Diego Sanchez with one of the most brutal elbows I've ever seen in my entire life. So to me, it might not look exciting depending on their record, and you look at that kind of on paper, right? But we know there's dogs in these 2 men, and I think they're going to bring out the best in each other. So, Kevin, what do you think about this fight here?
Yeah, I think it's a good fight to make, even though, like you said, they're both not in their prime. I think the skill level is pretty even. They're both at the same point in their careers. They were really big names in the sport at one point, and I think this is going to be a tough fight for both guys. And I think it would be pretty exciting too. Yeah, Condit's kind of on a losing streak, and Brown did have that huge win over Diego Sanchez, but again, Diego Sanchez is kind of in the same group as these guys. They've been through a ton of wars already. They're getting a little bit older now. But yeah, I think, I don't know. It's a tough one to pick because, it's like, I don't know, they're vets of the sport, but it's like they're so far out of their prime. It's like a weird thing. I think I might go with Matt Brown. I think I'm going to choose Brown for this one.
I'm going to go Brown. I think Brown gets a finish here. I think Condit is pretty compromised. If you take a look at those 5 losses, right, I think Condit still has a chin and a half, but he got finished in 3 of 5 of those by submission. But I think that Matt Brown still is strong as fuck, and I think he still has like 1-punch power. Maybe not to a guy in his prime, obviously, but I think with a guy like Carlos Condit, who has been, finished recently, I think we're going to see Matt Brown capitalize. I think we're going to see a brutal finish on Matt Brown's end. I think it's going to be an exciting fight up until then, and we're going to see something crazy like a Hellbow or some one punch knockout. So again, like you just said, I think this is still going to be exciting. If it was 2007, I'd be all over this fight. I'd be fired up. I still am, but I wish it had, these guys were in their prime. But still, co-main event. Keep an eye out here. I'm going Matt Brown, knockout, third round. Let's get it. And then let's get to the good stuff, buddy. What we've been waiting for. UFC Fight Island 7 main event. We have Max Blessed Holloway taking on our boy, the Boston finisher, New England Cartel's own Calvin Kattar. I could talk all night about this fight. This is one of those fights where you legitimately don't know who's going to win, right? We can't be biased. I don't want to be biased for this. I'm looking at Max Holloway, arguably the greatest featherweight fighter to ever be put on earth. This is the first time in, my God, first time since Ricardo Lamas, June 4th, 2016, Max Holloway is not fighting for a belt. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Wild to me.
No, it is great.
Taking on Calvin Kattar, who is right now kind of the face of just New England fighting, our guy. 2-fight win streak, decimating Jeremy Stevens, beginning of pandemic, which was great to see, and then getting a hard-fought decision win over the surging Dan Ige. This is a fight that you dream up of. These guys are good everywhere. Max's boxing is stupid ridiculous. We saw it against Ortega. Calvin Kattar's boxing is ridiculous. We saw it against every one of his opponents. This fight is going to be a standing war. I don't think anyone's going to get finished in this fight. I think this is going to be 5 rounds of just the best boxing display the UFC's ever seen. I think it's going to be an amazing fight. Before predictions, Kev, break this fight down for me real quick.
Yeah, I mean, you got Max Holloway, I think he was undefeated for like 5 years straight. It was like 2014 to 2019 that he was undefeated. And, he took out everybody. I mean, we made that post earlier this week of everyone that he's fought, and he's only 29 years old. And like some of the people, like he's beaten Frankie Edgar. The last Volkanovski fight, that was pretty controversial. Even though he lost it, I think a lot of people thought that he won. He's fought Poirier twice. He's lost twice to Poirier, but another big name. Beat up Ortega pretty good when Ortega was undefeated. Took out Aldo twice. Finished Aldo twice. Pettis, Ricardo Lamas. I mean, it's Jeremy Stevens, Oliveira. Like,
insane.
He's beaten everybody. Cub Swanson. I mean, I could just keep on going on and on, but yeah, I mean, I saw this article too today. Someone was writing that this was kind of like a do or die fight for Max because he's 1-3 in his last 4, and I think that's pretty insulting considering the career that he's had. He's only 29 years old. He's still getting better. He's still got a lot of time in the sport. And he was undefeated for 5 years straight. Still a super dangerous fighter. You'd see that in the last fight. Great fight with Volk. But yeah, I think him and Kattar are pretty similar too, with like their physical attributes. They're both pretty rangy. They got really good boxing. I would have to give Kattar the advantage in the power department. If I just see this fight just being a stand-up battle the entire time, and I think Kattar is going to do more damage. Max might hit him with some volume, but we've seen with Kattar, he's been able to take Jeremy Stevens' best shots. He's been able to hang in there with Burgos. We've seen Burgos' boxing with Emmett last year. That was another great fight. Yeah,
To
Kate is
me,
not afraid to take a shot to give one, and I think his shots are a whole different story in this division. So I got to go with the hometown guy, and the boxing, the power that he has, and just kind of like the trajectory that he's on. And he looks to finish fights too. He's going to be looking for that the entire time. Like we've seen that with the Zabit fight too.
yep.
You know, and that's another factor too. Is like this is going to be the first fight on ABC. He's fighting the former champion. You'd think there's a lot of pressure on him, but just wasn't last year, but the year before, he went over to Russia and fought Zabit when he was like, one of the top stars and like one of the top up and comers in the sport. So I don't think that's going to be a huge factor for him. I don't think he's going to be, um, too intimidated with Holloway's reputation and record. I think he's going to go right at him, and I see him laying some damage on him.
Max has never been knocked out in his career. Was Kattar the first one to knock him out?
I would say yes, but we saw in the Dan Ige fight, he was able to weather the storm. So I think, I don't know, man. I don't know. He hits so different. It's like Jeremy Stevens. Like when was the last time we seen Stevens knocked out like that? Like although dropped him with a body shot, like a legit knockout like that. I don't think anyone's done that to Jeremy Stevens.
No.
So it's a possibility. It's going to be a lot tougher to do against Max Holloway than some of the other opponents that he's had. But I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I look at it, and the reason I say decision is you got to look at that. You got to look at the Poirier fight, right? Poirier hits like a truck, and Max ate all that shit. Max, to me, has a concrete chin. I don't even think has Max even been dropped before in a fight. I don't even think he's been dropped. I think maybe in the Poirier fight he got dropped. Max is
155 too, so that's another 2 pounds. He's coming up a division.
Exactly. And that's why I look and I say Kattar's boxing's ridiculous. I do think Kattar is a big 145er. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, man. I would love to see a finish, but I don't even want to disrespect a legend like Max Holloway like that. Like you just named his hit list, and he just ate shots from all those guys. And to me, I would love to see a finish, and I would love to see Kattar be the first guy, but I just think it's going to be a hard fought, close 5-round fight with, I agree with you, Kattar doing the most damage. And like, I think if Kattar can sustain from those leg kicks, because that's how he lost the Moicano fight, is just Moicano was chopping at Kattar's legs. I think if he can prevent that from happening and he can just do his thing on the feet, Kattar is going to be next in line for this fucking title, and he's going to beat Max Holloway.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think now, so I think this is kind of sets up a great question here. Obviously, Brian Ortega just put on an absolute masterclass performance versus Korean Zombie. If Calvin Kattar beats Holloway on Saturday night, who gets that title shot first? Because if I look at it, I see as Ortega was the number one contender when he fought Korean Zombie. But Max Holloway, to me, you beat Max Holloway, you get that title shot. That's me. And Ortega didn't beat Max Holloway. He got beat up. So I look at the win over Max Holloway better than a win over Korean Zombie, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other thing that factors into it for me as well is the activity. Calvin Kattar has been fighting. Ortega, how long was he out for after that Holloway fight?
2 years.
2 years?
More than 2 years, yeah.
So, even though that was impressive, he did come back. No one was expecting him to outstrike the Korean Zombie. I mean, that was. I mean, he looked awesome, but I think you have to give, one credit to Kattar. If he does beat Holloway, he's going to have that over Ortega. And then he's also been active. You know, he's been fighting Danny Ige. He's got knockouts against Jeremy Stevens, Ricardo Lamas, Shane Burgos. He's finishing fights. So, yeah, I think Calvin has the stronger argument. But then again, you know, what's best for the business, I don't know. Dana and, you know, all his guys have a way to determine what's going to do the best. You know, Kattar's got the knockouts, but Ortega made a pretty big name for himself when he went on that run. So I don't know, you know, business wise, who would pull in bigger numbers.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It all comes back to that. And obviously, I think you get past Max Holloway and you deserve nothing more because this guy's the GOAT of this division, arguably. You know, him, Aldo, obviously up there. He finished Aldo twice. And to me, I think it really depends on how Kattar beats Max. I think if he sparks Max, I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
If it is a close decision, I can see them giving it to Ortega, but obviously Kattar's next in line. Like that's not even a question there. Which brings me to my next question. Max beats Kattar. Do they book the trilogy? Like what do they do with Max at that point if he beats a guy like Kattar? Because like that's where my mind, I'm confused. What happens next?
Yeah, I know. Max is in a weird position because it's not. I mean, obviously he's going to go out try to beat Kattar, but it puts him in a weird spot because, you know, he's already 0-2. No matter how controversial the contests were, he's 0-2 against the champ. So making that third fight, I don't think the UFC is going to do it. But you know, there are some guys coming up like Zabit, Yair, or maybe even like run it back with Ortega.
I was thinking that too.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know, but it does put him in a really weird spot because you think, you know, if you're the number one guy, and he's fighting Kattar's number 6, you would think a win would put you in the running, especially with, you know, Ortega hasn't been too active. You know, he's had one win in the past 2 years, and you also have a win over him. So I don't know. It's going to be a weird spot for him. I'd be really interested to see what they do with Holloway.
Yeah. Overall, man, me and you, this is a fight that I've been waiting for, and I knew that this was going to get booked, but this is a fight where you don't blink, don't go to the bathroom. You need to watch this from start to finish because my prediction is it's going to be a 5-round fucking war. For those of you who think Max might be washed, wait till you see the fight on Saturday. He's going to hit Kattar with everything he has. Kattar is just tough as nails. He ain't going away. I think, like you said, I think he's going to do a ton of damage to Max. I think we're going to see Max's face look like it did in the Poirier fight. I think there's going to be definitely a power discrepancy between the two because Kattar is a big boy at 145. And the dude has all heart. He's been waiting for this. He said it best in his, in the one of the pipe up videos. He's the elder in this fight. He's 32 years old to Max 29. He's the senior. Max is the freshman. He's going to bully him in there. So I can't wait because you got two of like the best dudes in the division. Max, it's like, I hate to even like want him to lose because he's such a fucking awesome dude. But Calvin Kattar is going to get his hand raised on Saturday night, shock the world. Because I really believe that like, this is like, if he wins, I don't think people are betting Calvin Kattar in this fight. I really don't believe that because people are looking at the Zabit fight. People are looking at like, oh, he didn't finish Dan Ige, like all this stuff. Like there's going to be a bunch of questions about that. But I'm telling you right now, I think Calvin Kattar is going to beat Max Holloway via split decision Saturday night. Final prediction. What do you got?
Oh, man. Yeah, and another thing I want to mention before I give my prediction is you know, the coaches that he has and the team that Kattar has too. You know, I don't think I think very few people were thinking that Rob Font was going to beat Marlon Moraes, but
No
they've,
one did.
you know, Tyson Chartier and their team, you know, just created this game plan. He did it in, was it under 3 minutes,
Yep.
which was, it was crazy. So, you know, Kattar's got a great team behind him as well. He's got some great minds, great strategies going into fights. So I think that's another thing, another benefit that he has. But as for my prediction, I'm going Kattar. I mean, he's been knocking people out. It's hard to say that he's not going to get a knockout, but
Say it.
when you put him against Max Holloway, you know, someone who's never been knocked out. Man, all right, I'm gonna say unanimous. I'm gonna say unanimous decision. Kattar.
Let's fucking go. Calvin Kattar, the year of the New England Cartel. My bold prediction for 2021, we are going to be seeing not one, but two members of the New England Cartel hold belts this year. Shout out Tyson Chartier. Shout out Rob Font. Shout out Calvin Kattar. I cannot wait for Saturday night, guys. UFC Fight Island 7 going to be a ridiculous card. And then for those of you who don't know, it's that kind of 3 fights in 1 week. Wednesday night, we got Michael Chiesa taking on Neil Magny in a welterweight bout. And then the big boy, less than 2 weeks, UFC 257, Conor McGregor taking on Dustin Poirier, the rematch. I cannot wait to preview that fight. Guys, UFC's back, baby. I'm excited. Fight Island's back. Dana White said this is going to be a massive year for the company. We have a ton of just great fights to preview over these next couple months. Thank you for everyone who supported us in fucking 2020. 2021 is going to be massive. Click the link to our new website, www.FlatlinedMMA.com. Check out our blogs, videos, get up to date with everything Flatlined. Go to our store, buy some fucking merch, support the boys. We're going to fucking blow up this year. Click the link. All of our sponsors are below. Go buy everything Flatlined related, all of your Flatlined MMA needs. And until next time, boys, Flatlined MMA. Peace.